Hey everybody, welcome to the second iteration of the Gauntlet, a wonderful tournament brought to you by Yummy Cheeseman and myself, Pyrotechnics, as well as the awesome people in the background, thanks to Dover Nolsky and all of them participating to make this happen. But it's going to be a good one. It is, of course, Thursday night. Yummy, you ready for some Rocket League action?
I'm ready. I'm actually excited. I had so much fun last week, and it's been a long time since I've seen the top Oceanic teams together. I forgot what good Rocket League was, to be honest.
Yeah, you've been kind of in the drought, man. You're sprinkling some water in the desert here, so it's nice to see people coming out, getting interested in it, and of course, the teams duking it out for the $120 prize pool. And the community's been so responsive. Thank you guys for crowdfunding the next iteration. We have number 3 all set. Our donation goal now goes towards the 4th edition of the Gauntlet, so we just keep on rolling.
Yeah, we've had even donations coming in off stream, people who really want to support it. You can see here there was $40 already before the stream started that came in from Lethal for Life to go towards the next one. So we are ready to potentially have 4 tournaments in a row. You know, we've been short of community tournaments for a long time, but we're back into it. But you know, when we're talking about these guys, we're talking about the top teams. We've got Justice Esports, who had that big upset run last week that managed to take down Order in Game 7, and then Order had to re-qualify last week.
Yeah, so we got the same teams that will be involved, but Order, as you mentioned, did have to go through the RLO 3v3s. They made it through again, and they'll get another crack at Justice Esports. I feel like this time they won't be underestimating them in our opening round.
Yeah, and there's also a chance for you guys to come and qualify for the Gauntlet as well. Every Saturday at 4 p.m, well, at least this Saturday, 4 p.m, there will be the RLO 3v3 once again. If you want to qualify, go through that. And we are going to move to a 5-team Gauntlet next week. So the 4 teams playing today will automatically be in next week's Gauntlet once again, but one more team will be entered, and I felt that this was really important to get that sort of bubble team, the team that's just on the outside of the top 4, a chance to make it in. We don't want to see Order getting back in every week. So we're giving them the free chance to come in, and somebody else gets a chance to qualify.
And imagine if that team, whoever it is, ends up upsetting the apple cart a little bit, making it through, and then forcing Order or another team back in. It gets really exciting. Now, I think you've yet to decide if it's going to be best of 7s all the way, change it up to best of 5s. All that information will be forthcoming. Yummy, of course, will reach out on Discord and on Twitter to make sure you guys know that information. But it's exciting. You know, we get more chances to see more teams in top-tier Rocket League action here in the OCE.
Yeah, and it's good. More matches, more teams. It's all exciting. As you'll see throughout tonight, we're going to be holding records and stats for everyone. It is a great chance, but it looks like the teams are starting to get ready. They're all popping into the game, and I'm ready to see the rematch between Justice and Order, because it was such a spectacular match last week.
It really was, and Order was definitely the favorites going into this one. We thought Justice might be a little bit weaker than them, but they really showed up to play. They started off with a 2-game winning streak. It went all the way to 7 as Order clawed back a few games, and it was just impressive performance. Justice, you know, negate the fact that they lost out to Chiefs after that in pretty blowout fashion. It didn't really matter. They still made a statement, and I'm excited to see what happens here today.
I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make that massive statement. Justice Esports are the team that are trying to make it to Worlds. To do that, you have to be in the top 2, and now they are just sitting 1 away from that top 2 here in the Gauntlet. If they can get anything more coming out today, maybe that they will be able to prove themselves in a month's time when league play is well underway. But Order, they have everything to prove, and last week, they really couldn't find that execution. They weren't sinking the shots, and you kind of see it in their shot ratio as well. The number of goals per shots was one of the lowest it was the lowest for the team, because they were hitting the side post, they were hitting the crossbar every single time, despite having some really good setups.
And there was individual performance, right? But I think it's key that you mentioned syncing up was what was lacking on the Order side. It felt like there was a lot of rust on the bike chains. They weren't really getting it going. And Justice just had individual better performance and better team play. And I really want to credit one of their newer members. I think Misty really stepped up and delivered when it counted.
That's really important for them as well. He's the one that they're really testing out. And he's the one that can sink or swim the entire team. And he proved it himself last. We now know that we can count on Misty. Will he show that consistency throughout? Maybe, maybe not. But he was a top scorer. And you kind of look at Steve as normally that star player on these rosters. he wasn't that big star player. He wasn't setting up all the goals. He's usually pretty crazy in the front half, get some unpredictable plays, and then someone else will score off him. We'd like to see a little bit more from him today.
Yeah, I think Steve could definitely do a step up. He was at least reasonably consistent in his performance last week. Also, though, I want to give some credit to Yeatsy because he was pulling off some really impressive saves.
Yep.
Very much a defensive-oriented player in that tournament. And it really felt like Justice knew what they wanted to do. The question is, are they still up to that level or can they exceed it?
Yeah, and if I'm looking at Steve on Justice Esports, when we look over at Order Esports, I'm looking at both Jules and Decker. Decker was, admittedly by himself in a slump throughout last week. He wasn't feeling the best. He feels like he's out of that now. On the same note, you have a look at Jules, and he's normally that player that really, really pops off. And last week, he was the one who kept missing those goals, who had the open net opportunities and just went completely wide. He's that guy who can just win you an entire game, win you an entire series if he's doing well.
And that's, I think, one of the big reasons that Order built the team around him as well. So I think you're kind of banking on this player, on Jules, to really step up and deliver. We'll see if he can do that here today for Order. Because even though it went all the way to 7 games, you do not want to go out again. They'll still auto-qualify due to the expanding number of teams in the next iteration of the Gauntlet. But you don't want to feel like you're getting that charity handout. You want to earn it back.
I think they will too. Like that, to me, coming into this match, considering how they went last week and how it felt like a kind of off day for them, this feels like it's still back in Order's court. And it's up to Justice to upset them. On the same note, if you cannot perform on a tournament day, if you can only perform in scrims, you're not going to go too well throughout the season.
No, that's true. Definitely have to see who delivers today. Looks like the game pretty close to starting. Everyone's just readying up as we get ready to kick things off. As a reminder to everybody, the matches are, of course, best of 7. And if it goes the distance, that is always an exciting thing. We had a couple of blowouts. I think Chiefs really flexed their muscles last week. I'm excited to see what these teams can do after having a week of scrims, really prepping for it. There wasn't a whole lot of foreknowledge, I think, for a lot of the teams. They really got notified with maybe, 4, 5, 6 days to play tops. Now they've had all of that and more to know. All right, we're going to be going up against each other, and it looks like we are about to get underway. The start of the Gauntlet number 2, we have kickoff. And you can see on the blue side, it is going to be Justice. That means in the orange, we've got Order.
Order looking to get the revenge against Justice from last week's display. And it's a big start already with a chance on attack.
Nice job by Yeatsy, though, to get the defense up there. You can see Siki trying to find an opening to get it in. Deca to follow through, but instead, it's cleared away. Justice is going to be able to push it away on the defense and get it back to midfield, but they can't really get much done with it, which means it goes back into the Order court.
It's Order all the way at the moment. All this pressure, and Steve, that is a big miss considering he is their star player. Cannot be affording to make those mistakes. That is how Order lost to Justice last week.
And they're stealing it away. Once again, there's Deca to try and get this back in here. Now Misty's going to be forced to bobble it away. Control from Justice just hasn't been there. Now Yeatsy has a chance, but he gets denied. Courtesy of Deca has to ride that wall up and loses control of the ball as Steve comes in. Here's Siki to pick it back up, though.
Siki, he needs to be that consistent player. He's the anchor of the team, and Jules and Deca will be really looking to him to lead them forward, as he does right here. He's forced 2 players on the defense to go up.
Yeah, you can already see that Justice, I think they're shaking a little bit of rust off themselves, so before the tournament, you never know exactly how much the teams are practicing ahead of time. Obviously, you have to assume scrims happen, but a little bit of surprising sloppiness, especially on the Justice side, as they try to center it up for Misty here, but he just pushes it back into the corner.
It's not the Justice we saw last week, and unfortunately for them, they don't need to give it their all in order to take it out. That's a big pinch out from Siki. It's almost on target.
Long shot.
If it wasn't for Deca right there, it wouldn't have... would have been a goal. He just respected the opponents a bit too much.
Order taking a lot of wild shots here, and Deca has the opportunity, but Misty goes in for the block. Siki for round 2 misses it. Jules popping up to try and bobble this one in. Yeatsy sitting inside the net, and oh boy, last second save from Steve. That was
Beautiful
too
work
close
by Jules as well. He got up, he took his time, he faked them low, and almost had the flip reset, but he just didn't quite get his wheels on the car.
Ooh, there's a demo there from Misty. So Siki unfortunately can't get an opportunity to pull an opening shot here. Jules will go back to centering the ball. Misty should be there to intercept and push it back to center. There's Yeatsy, but a bit of a wild defensive play there once more from Justice.
And it really feels like Steve is the one being moved back. Now it's his two teammates in attack. It's not what we usually see with Yeatsy and Misty, the rookie, coming in and getting the first goal.
This isn't the first time we've seen Misty pull off some surprising shots. It gets passed around a few times, but a nice little tap, and he sends it just into the right end of the net.
And it was important to see Steve getting that dunk. He's the guy who sets up the offense. He did it this time, got the dunk, and that allowed Misty to finish it up.
So now Order just need to keep their heads in the game, and it looks like they've been able to do just that. A good opening volley from Jules. Here comes Deca to even the score. Misty with a last-second defense. It's a third win for Sicky. Jules tries to intercept and go in, but it's cleared away by Yeatsy, and Order still on the attack here with Deca.
We keep seeing Justice with these massive clutches and another two big saves right on the goal line. They were difficult, they were hard to do, and most importantly, they were so important.
They certainly are. It's really crazy stuff, though, the fact that Order just can't line it up, and we saw this happen time and time again last week, but the long shot Sicky will pull the equalizer with 2 to play.
We talked about clutch goals, but this is the exact opposite. Sicky just taking a long shot and Yeatsy getting completely faked out by Deca. He needed to go up immediately, leave no room for mistake. It is a 1-1 game once again.
So we're all tied up. In the first 3 minutes, it seemed like it was going to bounce back and forth quite a lot, but Order do find an answer here. Yeatsy looking to send it off the top end of the net, but before it can hit the crossbar, it's denied again here by the Order boys. Steve going to take this, round it up. Jules coming through on the boost. Denied again, and Justice, they've done a better defensive job despite the fact that they just had one go in. Here's Steve for defense. He centers the ball. No one there to pick it up. Misty not going to go for it as he sees it was going to go the other way. Deca still looking for the long ball. They had that one go in last time, and Steve, this time, he pulls the defensive clutch once more. Yeatsy picks up the ball, taking the boost. He's going to try to ride this one in, but he's knocked away. Ball's going to be centered here. Deca looking for the defense, and it's all too easy for Order to get that one back. However, Misty picks it up again.
The opportunities for Order have come from these big, long shots. It's not enough. They need to do a little bit more to get past the Justice Esports defense, even if it was just the fake. But Justice Esports, they're starting to get those passes together. They get those long forward touches and the good follow-ups. I think Justice have got it in their court right now.
I think they certainly do, but they have to watch those long balls coming out of Order because they've had a couple of close calls, and here's the center attempt. Siki's going to be there for the defense once more, sends it all the way back over to Misty, and it feels like it's a game of goalkeepers here, Yummy.
Great defensive placement by Steve, too. In the spot for the pass. It might lead to a goal. He got
so
the 50.
Close.
It is just off the side.
That was a really nice counterattack there from Justice, but a little bit too slow. It's sniffed out by Order. They push it back around. It looks like we could be going to overtime here. We're down to 33 seconds, Yummy.
It is, though, stuck in Order's defense, and unlike Justice Esports, there's no one there in that defensive pass position to get the ball out. So now they're going to be starting to run low on boost, and Justice might be able to capitalize.
See if they can sneak one out here. Order definitely want to keep this at a tie game till OT and snatch a win away, but Misty's there, sends it, but it bounces off the crossbar. Unluckily for them, and now we have 10 seconds to play. One more attempt here, potentially for Justice, but they lose control.
Misty just ran all the way back. That was their opportunity. 2 seconds left.
This
the shot is on.
Oh, it was so close there. Deca pulling the save off. Ball's going to get bobbled into the air, and we're going to overtime unless Order or Justice can pull a miracle, but there's really no chance at it anymore. Steve sends it flying into the corner. It's gonna hit the floor, and there we go. Into OT on game one.
It was so close, and Justice had so much control throughout the last minute of that game, so much pressure, and Order just held on.
They have to be feeling good about the fact that they didn't lose another one at the last couple of seconds. Order having flashbacks potentially of last week's performance against Justice. Order gonna be maneuvering around Yeatsy, but it doesn't go past Misty quite so easily. The young rookie there is able to get it away, and a little interception by Deca. He body blocks, and now it's passed over to Jules. Let's see if Order can get this one in. A game one win would go a long way for their confidence after last week, and Siki's just not there in time for the pass. Steve pushes it back around. It's back to Yeatsy as he goes for a counterattack. Here's Jules on the defense, and Siki bounces it back into the corner.
Really goes to show just how close these teams are. They're really back and forth. One team getting pressure, one team reversing it. And right now, it looks like it could go either way, even though Justice have had the better of it.
These teams definitely came to play. We're only in game one, but Justice so far aggressive on the attack. Order have been able to match it, but the accuracy of the shots just not quite the same. However, Justice still had a couple things go off crossbar one too many times, and it's Order's chance to make a play here. Misty's still there for the defense, and that young player's been pretty much everywhere this game. Got to give him a lot of credit.
He's done well. He had that one missed shot, which might haunt him if they end up losing this game. This might haunt him more. It was on target, and Yeezy had to save the shot that came from Misty. It might be the end of it too. A backboard, no boost left, and Steve just gets in the way.
A second and third wind, but great defense there from Steve. We talked about how we wanted to see more from this guy in this week of the Gauntlet, and he certainly delivered in game number 1. Yeezy passing it back over center field, intercepted once more by Jules. Order will not give up this game. This is a long overtime right now, Yummy.
Such good rotations as well from Order to be able to keep that in attack for so long, and yet Justice still find a way to impress me. With 0 boost, they get the perfect pass onto the nose of Yeezy, and that's what prevented that attack from really coming out.
And there's just races for the balls here. It's going to get centered up. Jules will be there for the stop. Good defensive play by Order. Yeezy on the high. Going to look to bounce this one into Misty's hands. It gets picked away by Jules as he sends it towards the center. And it's just a game of picking, counter-picking, setting up the shot. Jules looking to push this one in, but Yeezy is there for the defense. And Deca tries to tap it in once more, but it's defended by Misty again.
Every time a desperate save comes out, but they get the clear at the same time. And this is Steve's specialty. The infield off the wall, not quite panning out this time.
He's getting closer and closer every time, though. Still, Order closing the ranks, playing a good defensive game, and the counterattack just so deadly. They know how to pass the ball in these angles, these corners, that it's so hard for Justice to intercept. But as soon as it gets close enough to the net, is Yeezy or Misty always there.
It's good to see Jules really picking this one up. He's getting the shots on, but the pass is still not quite there for Order.
Here's Jules going on the high, trying to get this one in, but it's just off the backboard. And it's an easy pickup for Yeezy here, although Deca comes in once more. Order clearly want this game. Sicky going to pick this up, launch it into the corner. Here's Steve, though, to knock it away, booting it all the way to midfield before it's picked up by Jules for another attempt. Yeezy will challenge him for it. Here comes Deca. Misty's there, and the ball is just anybody's.
A lot of keep away. The attempt to fight for possession. Just get that ball past your opponent. That's #1 priority. And that's what's going to happen in these overtimes. The nerves come out. People just are desperate to keep the ball away from their opponent, and they're not making the plays themselves.
There's the demo. This may be an opener right here, but it is cleared away. Yeezy will pick this one up as Jules sends it flying back to midfield once again, trying to lob this one into the goal. But here's Steve for the defense, and I don't think I've seen two teams more evenly matched in any iteration of the Gauntlet so far.
And Steve's done so well just getting that ball up to the other end of the pitch solo. He keeps doing that. Steve feels like he is performing today.
He certainly has. Now, it's only game 1. There's plenty of time left to play, but we've had 4 minutes of overtime right now, Yummy, and Yeezy's going to send it in to finally get the win. And they just watched and waited for the opportunity.
They stayed close together. They worked as a team. So much trust here in this play between Yeezy and Steve. And that's what allows them to beat out the Order defense. Justice Esports, they might be doing it again. They take out game 1.
I think Order definitely put up a lot more of a fight than they did in the opening game of last week. But you're right, Yummy. They looked just a little bit stronger, a little bit better on the attack. They had to earn it, though. That was a 9-minute round.
And it was good. This is a much better sign for Justice Esports. Last week, Order weren't performing, and Justice took the win. But there's questions still, like, well, they beat Order, but were they performing their best? Well, now, Order performing well, Justice still clutch it out, and not only that, Justice had control, like real severe control at multiple points of that match, right at the end of, the last minute of regulation time. Multiple times in overtime, really felt like they had control, and they just didn't quite get it past the Order defense.
Yeah, there were a lot of really near misses. They could have started to go one way or the other. I think Order had a lot of great counterattacks, though. I do want to give them some credit.
Yeah.
The one goal they did score, that was a long ball. It really kind of lobbed up and around. And I think their knowledge of really where they can actually take their shots from is very impressive on the Order side. But you have to be feeling it's a little bit rough. You just can't put it away. And 9 minutes of game. They're going to have to play from behind, but it is a best of 7. There's plenty more Rocket League to play for them.
The interesting thing as well we see is it is a tournament match. The teams are playing maybe differently to what they display in scrims or anything like that. Order are playing defensive, and Justice aren't as aggressive as you'd really think. They're not getting these big risky passes. It's more about sending Steve up to try and open up the net, and if that doesn't pan out, nothing happens. And the same on Order. There's no one there for the pass. They only got one big pass play off last game.
All right, we're in game number 2. We'll see if things start to tighten up a little bit. And I think for Order, it's just going to be about making sure that they can't let a lot of those balls slip through their fingers. On the other hand, for Justice, it It is all about keeping the team play, the passing going. Here's the pickup by Misty, sends it over into the corner once more for Steve to try and pick up. And Steve has definitely been showing his colors this game, impressing, but there's a save from Jules, and it's still Justice on the attack before two members of Order intercepted, push it back the opposite way. Picked up once more by Steve, and this ball just stays in center field. Here's the attack launch once more by Yeatsy.
It really just feels like this is going to be another close series. The way this is starting out, the way both the teams are just countering each other in the midfield and not allowing those opportunities to come right now, we might just see these guys go another game 7.
Very possible, and we could have a lot more overtimes before it's all done. There's a demo Deca picking up one here as Jules bounces it back again. It's just a game of back and forth, consistently good control out of the Order lineup as they pick it back up, this time on the opposite side, trying to grab a little bit more control in the goal-scoring position. Here it goes. It's going to be so close here. It's bouncing up and down right in front of the net. And another second attempt, a third attempt even as Jules tries to go forward, gets just completely taken away by Justice, but man, that was a close call. Could have very easily been an Order 1-0.
On another day, Jules would have scored that too. He'd read it, he saw what was happening, but he just couldn't quite line up his car with the shot. And that is an opportunity left begging by all three players of Order.
It's shades of last week, Yummy. So many good shots, but just not enough of them going where they needed to, right in the net. It was off the corner or it gets blocked at the last moment. You know, you can say maybe they're just not quite as accurate, but at the same time, Justice, they're getting an opportunity again, and Misty pulls the score. Point blank.
You saw that coming a mile away. That pass off here from Siki, there's no one to follow, and Yeatsy sees the bump. He takes Jules out of the play. Great communication as well. Steve knew that the pass was ready. He takes it, he gets the goal.
Just execution. Justice seemed to have it better. Just a tiny bit, too. It's not like they're outclassing Order, but it's just enough of the right stuff to make the play when it counts. Now, Order forced into the counterattack, trying to get a little more aggressive. You can see the reaction. When they get scored on, they go a little bit further forward, but this can be reckless. There's the demo. Jules finding Yeatsy. Steve launching this one, looking for the center. Slow ball, and Jules is going to zoom in there to try and pick it up, but Justice continuing to stay on the attack and finding holes in the defense of Order.
There's just no attack right now for Order. They've got one person who pushes forward, but there's no second member to bounce off. This is giving Justice opportunity after opportunity. They're not going to take any risks.
They don't need to. They're 1-0 up with 2:25 left to play. That's half shaved off the game clock already. So if they can just keep this one up in the air, you have to think Justice will be pretty happy. They'll still look for shots. They'll still look for angles. But there's no need to force it right now, and it's keeping Order locked up on their own side of the pitch. Here's Steve from the center. Just letting it ride the wall. Picked up by Order. They're going to go for an attack. Here's Misty, though, once again. He's been great on the defense today, the young player from Justice.
And Deca panicked a little bit there. He had the open ball. He had plenty of time on it and just popped it so high straight up to Justice Esports. And that is their domain. They're so fast in the air.
They certainly seem to be. Now, Order, they're pretty solid at setting up some of these shots. You just need to see him knock it down. Finally, there is going to be Steve pushed out of the way by Jules as he sends the ball flying, but it's a bit too high. Deca looking for the center. Here's Siki to try to find the answer, and he does it. A nice little bounce, and we're 1-1.
Look at this perfect pass from Deca. He gets that one backwards, and Siki is right there in the spot, right behind him. That could not have gone any better, and you kind of saw that was unsavable.
Yeah, Steve, he looked like he was going for it, but all he did was tip it right in because there really wasn't any way for them to stop. So we're back to 1-1 with a minute and a half left. Order find a great answer here. Let's see how Justice respond as they start by taking the ball. Yeatsy's going to send this one up onto the left corner. Intercepted. Picked back by Jules. Good save. Misty waiting back. No boost, though. Can't really contest for this one, but Steve is there for the center. Deca goes high. Knocks it away. Still being played on the Order side. Let's see if their counterattack's just as strong. It's going to get picked up by Misty again. The man is always at the ball when it's in the Justice court.
And a very solid touch to get that past the midfield. The rotation could have kept the pressure on, and instead, it is now in Justice's favor.
Okay, Jules pushing that one back as he rides high. Saw that coming a mile away as Misty tries to go for the center. Siki will go for the denial. Steve keeping this on the Order side. If there's one more chance to put this into the net and put the game away without another long OT, Justice are going to look for it. Eatsy gets the demo onto Deca. Siki, though, looking to take this one all the way in. Jules is right behind him, but the ball is stopped up, bobbled into the air. And it's a perfect opportunity for Justice, but they both miss, and it's forced into Yeetsy's hands as he gets demoed by Siki on the challenge. And that's going to hit the top of the crossbar. So close here as Justice nearly go down a game.
You got a feel for Jules, too. He thought he read the backboard, but it hit the crossbar. It went down. Steve,
he gets it! 18 seconds to play. Steve finds the score, and that was just bounced in the air here. Order. They just didn't have a chance.
It was so awkward for everyone involved, so hard to read. That top corner bounce, but Steve knew it from the moment he hit it that it was going to come down right in front of the net. That might be the second game for Justice.
And that would be such a crusher for Order. They went down 0-2 last week against this very same team. You got to start thinking, how does this get into their heads? If they can answer back, if they can save the game right here, then that's not so much of a question. But Steve's just going to keep this one in possession of Justice. Order one last chance to try and make the play. It nearly goes down, and they're just wild, but it's not going to be enough. Justice take game 2.
Just as we thought we would have an overtime again, Justice Esports clutch it out. And honestly, I feel like, again, it's well-deserved. They had control a lot of that. Order are not playing with a lot of confidence. They're not taking those risks. They're not being aggressive. And they're kind of giving Justice the ability to have time on the ball and to take control of the entire pitch.
Justice just feel a little more practiced right now. They're playing a very good control game. As you mentioned, they're finding the openings that I think Order had been looking for, but Order are just not going in to try and make those big bull plays. Last week, they tried that, and unfortunately, they sent everybody up to the front side of the pitch. They didn't leave anybody at home. They had so many openings that Justice exploited. This time, they're afraid to even make the move.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and I don't understand. You know, Order have these great passes, and we've seen them come out once per game. One of them was a really good goal that ended up just getting their one goal of that game. If they could get that off a few times, they have the time to do it. They have the space to do it, but they're not pushing up. They're not getting into those positions.
Where do you think the failure point is right now? Because it seems like it's a whole team problem, but I'm trying to pinpoint individual performances as well.
I mean, part of it is that Jules hasn't finished up a couple of plays that he's really wanted to, but I would say it's all of them. You know, they're all not willing to let two people be in front of them. If one person's pushed up, a second person won't take the risk and push up with them.
And that's the issue, because if Justice recognize that, they most certainly seem to be. They're just taking advantage of it. They're knowing they can play the tempo game and force Order to really dance to their beat. Now, it's a good attempt here by Jules to try and get this one center, but it's completely denied once more as Yeetsy getting the demo off onto Siki here, and Steve going to try to get into the center to make this play happen. There's no one at home, and it's a quick score by Yeetsy.
It's a goal by Yeetsy, but it still involved all three members. A big pass across from Misty, and what you don't see on this pitch is Steve fakes them out. They went for the challenge on Steve's shot. He ended up just completely letting it go, and that goes all the way across to Yeetsy on the other side. So
and
smart.
This is once again Order caught snoozing when they should have been controlling the ball. Deca takes this one over to the Justice side of the map, but things are already starting to look great for Justice Esports in the Gauntlet number 2. Game 3 here, 4 minutes to play. It's 1-0 up, and all they got to do is win 2 more games, and they get themselves another date with Destiny, but that was close, very close here, off the crossbar. This time it's defended against Steve, gonna boot it out of there, and that was the closest shot Order I've had today.
That has to be in. You cannot hit it straight at the defender. He pre-jumped in advance, and still Siki hit the one defender that was left in the net. They gave themselves every opportunity, and they just didn't clutch it.
Every time it's seen coming by Justice as they look to get it into the net once more. Yeetsy going for the center play. Order, though, are there for the counterattack. Steve sends this one high. Siki goes for the challenge, misses it. As it bounces off the backboard, it's going to be Jules to intercept again. Misty pushing it back in the offense. Despite the fact that Justice are up, they keep this game in an aggressive posture, but they've got to be careful to watch their backs. You see Misty in the net to defend, but the ball is going up off the crossbar again. Order just cannot hit the mark today.
It's the same as last week. It's happening again. The crossbar over and over again. They see that Justice Esports, they go for these big jumps, they go for those clutch saves. We have to get the best shot possible. But then that just goes a little bit high and it comes out, and then now it's 0 goals still.
And there's some great defensive play by Misty, and the rest of Justice take nothing away from them. But unfortunately, Order, they have these open opportunities. But you got to think they just haven't done their geometry homework at this point, Yummy. It's going just a quarter of an angle off.
And you see there, rookie Misty comes out. That was a smart play by him. He's playing really aggressively, even as the last man, not giving Order any time to take the shot, and even just getting in the way.
Forcing them into what was perhaps a suboptimal situation there. Yeetzy doesn't take this ball all the way. In fact, he doesn't even pick up the boost. That's a dangerous position. However, they don't get punished for it again. So Steve will ride the wall here to try and pick this up. It's taken by Deca. Instead, he grabs the boost, going back into the net. And Yeetzy, once again, he just makes it look all too easy. For the defense, Jules coming back on the counterattack. It's a little bit more wild here from Order. They've got 2 minutes to try and equalize. They've done it before, but it just seems like Justice have their number, going in for another attack. Yeetzy keeps this one on the Order side, going high for it. Sicky challenges, gets it off. Here's Steve, pushes it back into center. Unfortunately, there's Jules for the clear once more. Misty still sending it in. Deca, it's all Order can do to really keep this ball away from their own net. Steve will push it back from Justice's, and Yeetzy keeps this one going. Attack again. Sicky's there. Here's Misty, sending it into the center. Deca should fire that back.
This is no hesitation coming out from Justice Esports. They just go straight up for it, where the Order are waiting for the play to happen and trying to react, and that's why they're getting beaten to almost every ball.
And they're taking the 50-50 shots too, but not so recklessly that they leave their own defense open. You can see once more Steve was waiting in the wings, just gets it cleared up, and so many attempts, so many movements here by Justice, just playing with a lot more gasoline it seems. 1 minute and 10 left to play. Order need to find an answer, otherwise they're staring down a 0-3.
Looks like it will be, as the few passes coming out, but even then, Justice Esports, you can't expect to score on them when they're getting to the ball before you every single time.
And the repositioning here from Justice, you can just see it. Yeetzy casually pauses, turns himself around, gets into a position where he can answer it. Justice just have time. They don't feel flustered right now, and that's more than we can say for Order, who are taking a couple of wild shots, trying to race for the ball, but just not getting enough of it. And every time they're getting beaten to the punch. Yeetzy now grabbing the ball onto the boost. Going for the center. No one's there. 30 seconds left to play, but it doesn't matter if they get the score here because Order are the ones that have to make it.
That's a good touch by Jules, but just goes too far. I thought he had the opportunity to center that one up. It's still Justice Esports, who are in the lead and have control of the game.
20 seconds and ticking right now. Steve gonna ride this one, looking for it. Sicky beats him to the punch on the bounce. Doesn't really matter though. Yeetzy's here to tap it back towards the goal post. Misty will have another chance, but no, it's going to be intercepted, turned back into the corner. Steve is there for the defense, and all they got to do is bobble this, and they're one game away from moving on to round 2 against Icon, and it looks like that's going to be it. Justice 3-0 up.
It was Game 7 last week, and it felt like it at the start of this series when it went into that 4-minute overtime, but all of a sudden, Justice Esports, they feel in control. Order Esports, they cannot hit the net. They hit that crossbar twice this game, and if one of them went in, maybe they'd still be in a shot. And it's going to be so hard for this reverse sweep.
This is going to be rough. They're going to have to just completely block out what happened in the last couple of games, because that is one of the toughest mental things you can face, dealing with the fact that you have so many shots that are going just a smidgen too high. And if they can just down angle a bit better and even just coordinate on their passes a little bit more, it's not like they need major adjustments. Problem is, you have to really mentally rally in order to get this going.
I mean, you say that, but I want to see them really make a big change. I want them to go aggressive, try and get as many goals as possible, sometimes give up their defense. You know, you don't need to not get scored on to win. You need to score more than your opponent.
Best
Order
defense
are
and all
great
that.
at aggression. If they can get past this defense, get past that frustration, maybe they can get the ball rolling. But the way it's going, it just really feels like they're about to get 4-0'd after we were so close in the entirety of last week and in the early parts of this series.
And Order had to fight their way back into this. They do not want to go out on a 0-4, not getting a single map win. If they can take one, well, they need to do it. They need to do it right now because they have to reverse sweep their way into round 2. Let's see if they can make it happen. We've got potentially only this one more game to go before Icon awaits in the second round.
This could be a massive blow to Order's confidence. And you gotta think, look at Justice. Now they're potentially proving themselves at the very clear number 3 in the region and the team that would be closest to challenging that for that RLCS World Championship spot.
All right, we've got ourselves a kickoff here in game number 4. Order started off with an attack, but it gets stymied pretty quickly here as once more Justice continue to assert their control over the map. Deca and Jules going to combo up here. Steve turns this one away. There's the boost. He's going to try to get the tap in, but at the last second he's foiled. Steve goes forward once more, and Justice just seemed to be quicker on the draw. Misty looking for the center. Yeatsy going to ride that one up into the top. It's bobbled. It's dangerous position here. Deca pushes it away, but Steve is right back at it once more. Justice just seemed to be the ones in an aggressive position way more often. Now there's a chance for a counterattack. Steve's going to have to challenge for it. He picks up the boost in kind, but that's a dangerous position for Justice as well.
And this is so frustrating for Justice. For Order. They keep getting beaten to the ball, and it gets into your mind. You're like, do I even go up to the ball? That only makes you hesitate more, and you're just seeing them getting outpaced. Misty again, beating Deca to the ball, and then the demo happens, and you're like, okay, where do we go? What do we do? How do we play faster than Justice? And I think they're really in their heads right now.
Yeah, you can see Justice challenging every single thing here. Yeatsy will once more deflect the ball. It's another attempt by Order. Sicky's going to have it. Bit of a fake out there from both sides, but it ends up being Steve who gets it the way he wants. Misty going to send this just to the right of the net. Jules on the clear. Misty misses it, but Yeatsy does it. Steve looking for the center. Here he's going to have the opportunity. Just a little bit of a misfire, but nonetheless, Justice maintaining control in this game.
I think he was trying to get that across to Steve too, but he'd already done all the work. He'd got it past the defense. Yeatsy didn't need any more touches.
Yeatsy is going to be able to clear this ball once again. Order's attacks just out on the same level. This time, it's Justice on the backboard, but they do have another attempt to make it happen. Sicky's going to be here trying to lead this in, and that might be the first shot. Sicky just rides it in.
How does he get this? You kind of see that he might have it from the moment he launches off. This is such a tight angle. He gets the follow. Somebody just rushing past him net. And it ends up being such a good goal. And they've got the lead, finally.
He touches it with the back tire, and that might just be the confidence booster that Order need. Can they start to turn around right here, right now? It is 1-0 up with under 3 minutes to play. Match point here as Justice take it back over to the orange side. It's going to get picked up by Jules, intercepted by Steve. Up into the air it goes again. Misty centers it. Sicky is there. He's going to knock this one back around it. Order, see if they're playing with a little more gusto here. There's the ball. Deca, nice attempt, but it gets stopped.
That was really well done by Deca. It was a 1-2 play. It was really fast, and even the counterattack is good. It seemed that Misty was caught a little bit off guard.
Yeah, is it just me, or is Justice smidgen a little slower than they were a moment ago? It seems like maybe they're starting to doubt themselves just a bit. That was a very unlikely goal.
We're even there. You see, finally, they're trying to adapt to this fast play of Justice with Order, Jules just waiting underneath, and now they've let Justice Esports commit. They've now got 3 people on attack against the 2, and if it wasn't for that big solo play by Misty, they might have been able to get a goal.
Might have. 2 minutes left on the clock here. Justice, unfamiliar position for this Gauntlet, trying to find their way back into this game. They've still got 3 padded up, but you have to think they would like to pull off the sweep, flex some muscles here in this game. Misty goes up, looks for the center. Deca trying to defend it, gets a touch on, but Steve is there. Better momentum, swings. Sicky clears away. It's back over to Misty, trying to find a corner shot. Yeatsy going to send it back to him, but nothing doing.
Well read on that intercept too, but seeing Deca struggle a little bit. He's missed 2 shots in a row. Finally gets a solid one on his third, but that's going to get inside his head. He was slumping last week. He doesn't want to get back into that position.
You can see the Order having a couple more attempts than they had last time. This time, Jules goes ahead and tries to get the center again. Jules looking for one more play, but Steve is there to pick it up. And I think the big difference between this and the last moment is it's another save attempt. That was a very close one by Yeatsy and Misty. Is that Order just seemed to be catching up to the ball.
And they're really noticing what Justice Esports are doing. They're taking the time when they need to. And right there, they noticed that there was an open net and took the shot on. It was almost in.
It is! Misty! He equalizes!
1 apiece, and Jules just gets it straight to Steve. Deca gets beaten out, and Misty, a fortunate touch, but that is the kind of touch he needed to. He played so confidently, right up in his opponent's face.
And that's the Misty we saw last week. He was double tapping his way and boosting at the last second. Yeatsy's going to start off with a very strong attack. It goes up to the top side, though, just actually saving himself. It looks like Misty picks this up, but it's 1-1, and Order, they're forced into overtime. If they can even defend here, they're going to have to try and find an answer. If they can pick this one back up, if they can get one more score in 30 seconds, that would turn it around, but they're not attacking with the same fire.
It really felt like this was all Order's game, and then just falls apart right at this last moment. They need to get this goal just to stay alive, and but also for their mentality, not just for today, but going forward in future events.
A couple of attempts to try and knock this one in, but it just doesn't seem like they're really racing to it here. Order are going to be forced into overtime in the next couple of seconds, and after what a brilliant goal that was a absolute series saver, it's going to go to OT after all.
The thing is, their one goal came from a big solo play. It wasn't a team play. It wasn't any big effort to take out the defense. It was just Sicky popping off, and you can't rely on that consistently.
Now, we need to see a level up from Order. It's definitely looking a lot like overall what we saw last week. Still some rust, still some uncertainty, still some, honestly, conservative plays, and you can't do that against a team like Justice who will just attack you for every single play you want to make here. But we are OT. Misty gonna ride this one up, launches into the stratosphere. As Steve looks to center the ball again, they go back to midfield. Yeezy bobbles it up, and these guys just do a great job of, frankly, dribbling it to each other.
And you can really see how it affects Jules too. The fact that they keep possession, Jules is like, when do I go up? He'll go up at one point and just be incredibly behind the ball, and then will stay on the ground the next. Earlier in the game, he was choosing his moments wisely, and now it feels like he's panicking once it gets to overtime.
Well, there was an opportunity for Jules to march that into easy position well to make it happen. Jules does get boomed by Misty for a second. The ball gets pushed back once more into the Justice court, but Misty picks it up easy, and he avoids the challenge by Sicky looking for the center here. It just seems like Justice can make a whole lot out of nothing here, and Yeezy comes up and just absolutely blindsides the Order defender. Deca looking to get the play here. It's defended once more by Steve and Misty. Good combo in the net, and it's back over to the other side. Defended once more by Order, but it's a little shaky, a little uncertain. Their tournament hopes are on the line in this game. Order need a win. They send it in. No one at home. And Order stay alive looking for Game 5.
And they built some big opportunities by just taking shots, by taking a risk right here from Sicky to dunk that player. They're seeing that their Justice Esports may be committing a couple more people than they really need to these saves, and then opening up the net. Maybe this is how Order bring back the series.
It's certainly possible, but I think for Justice, they go a little aggressive. Sometimes that can be a mixed blessing, or rather a double-edged sword. And, I don't think they're going to be too busted up about the fact that they lost that game. They would have liked to sweep, you have to think. But they've still got several more chances to put the series away. It's on match point until the end.
You know what I think is kind of funny as well? I was talking about sort of Order trying to change up their pace based on what Justice Esports are doing. I talked about Jules looking uncomfortable and making a lot of mistakes in that. But I think that also goes into their favor a little bit. It made them less predictable. Justice Esports would be expecting them to be up, and then they beat them to the ball, but then they're not up. Some changes there, and in the moment that Justice Esports get put on defense, you're seeing them commit 2 people for a save, something like that. And if Order have that confidence to follow up like Misty did earlier in that game, then they might be able to get some capitalization on those double points.
Yeah, I would like to see a couple more of those big plays coming out from Order, but also their passing has improved a little bit. You got to give them some credit for the coordination being a little better there. And, that game, they finally got a result. It took them an OT. I think they would have liked to just have it on a 1-0. We'll see what they can do in game number 5. If they can keep bringing this series to even keel, or will they go out here? Order still on the orange, will take control of the ball first. However, it gets picked up almost immediately by Misty, trying to go for a solo play himself. Order ready for that, though. They've been able to read his plays in the last minute or two. Another attempt by Yeezy as he goes forward. Justice members kind of flying for the ball.
And that's their strength. They just go so fast. They beat you to the ball. They play so confidently, and that's hard to do when you're in a tournament setting. And they've been doing it even when they go into overtime.
Yeah, they really don't change up a whole lot. And here is an open net. It's going to start with Steve knocking in the easiest goal of his life.
And even throughout this entire play, you just see members of Justice Esports trying to beat them out to the ball, putting pressure on that touch from Jules, and that just left it wide open for Steve.
Yeah, that one was pretty straightforward, so it starts off 1-0 with only 30 seconds played out so far, and now Misty will take this one up. Missed out by Jules. Order kind of back on the back foot once more. Challenge from Yeezy. Derails this counterattack here as he picks up the boost. Looks for the center solo. And here's Steve. Nearly gets another one.
They can't be letting these opportunities in. It's so hard. Order have been struggling to get a goal on Justice Esports the entire time. And Justice Esports, they keep piling on the pressure even when they're ahead.
And they're just doing some nice little movements, like to re-control the ball. I love how Yeezy just stops for just a second, repositions himself, and he has the time to do that. It feels like Justice do have a read on Order, despite the fact that Order have changed tactics a little bit here in this tournament. That's going to serve them well if they can keep it up.
Look how close Steve is there. Misty so ready to go up for it. Steve as well. It just feels like Order can't get a touch that is unchallenged.
That is the real key there. Like, everything is challenged. Justice will always go for making a play.
And then something like that happens from Yeetzy, where he just approaches closely, doesn't make the play, and that just causes the goal. No, it hits the crossbar.
Oh, a little bit of Order unluckiness there on the side of Justice. Well, now they know exactly how their opponents have been feeling most of this tournament.
Even then, it still showed the great signs, and Yeetzy with a fake challenge. They know that they're rushing to these balls, or Order get put off, and all of a sudden he doesn't even need to make that big aerial play, and they still react the same way as if someone was challenging.
Yeah, great play here by Justice. Shame for them it doesn't work out, but they still have themselves a score to nil with 3 minutes left on the clock here. Jules slows down, just tries to make the big play to push it away from Misty. Steve, though, there to defend. It's never just one attacker, never just one challenge. Justice play so well on the attack. Here's Yeetzy going high, looking to double tap this one. Picked up by Sicky this time. Another challenge in for Misty. You can see Steve circles back around. He knows that ball is going back Order's way, and he just rides it to the top, tosses it back to Yeetzy. It's a bit of a bobble there, though, but Misty is easily able to get it back for Justice. Here's the attacking play. Jules going forward. Stymied again, and Yeetzy gets the clear.
That was the big opportunity for Order. They had the 1-2, but there was no follow-up. Jules was there making the play. Where was Sicky? Where was Deca to try and follow Jules' touch?
Well, Deca trying to make it once again. Misty still having the defense. It's one more attacking attempt, but all too easily pushed away by the Justice lineup. A lot of area balls this game. It's just been bouncing up in the air constantly. Might as well be a net on the ground. Here comes Sicky, trying to push this one into the center position. However, it's bounced back off the wall. Misty's here, and he beats the challenge. Gets the play. Solo.
Not only that, it was set up by Steve. This read right here, so fast. You would not expect someone to be able to read that and get a proper EU clear all the way down the pitch. Misty followed it up, gets a perfect 50-50, and it feels all over Red Rover for Order.
It was hard enough for Order to contend with a 1-0 Justice, but now they find themselves with a comfortable lead of 2. One of the highest scoring margins we've had today so far. Yeetzy going to look for another play just to keep padding this out. Remember, this is match point. Order need to come up with 2 quickly. They're going to find almost 1, but again, it goes just right.
That's the end of the game right there for Deca. He won everything. He did the 50-50, and he still couldn't get it in. Another side post!
Once again, so close, but Order just can't find the score. Yeetzy takes it back again. Time is running out here for Order to try and save their tournament hopes. They got 1 game, but it looks like that's all they're going to get, Yummy.
This is so painful to watch. If you're Order, you're just thinking, okay, we got this goal. We're making the comeback, and then the goal just doesn't go in. Twice now.
So many close attempts, so many backboards, so many crossbars, and Order. You can feel the frustration from here. You hate to see it. Yeetzy sends another one nearly in. This time it's defended by Jules, but Justice are just not giving up the attack. They know they've got it, and they are ravenous for even more goals.
Another challenge in the midfield. Some clever plays coming out from Justice. They have controlled this game from start to finish. You know, those big opportunities from Order, and even then, they don't give up their game plan. They just go for the ball. They stop it from coming out, and they are getting these big clears. This is another opportunity for Order, and they could sink it. As if Yeetzy just clutches it out once again.
Oh, and another demo, and they still can't get it. Deca challenges face first into 2 defenders for it, but time's just run out here for Order. It's so many valiant attempts, but they just have no more chances. 8 seconds left to play, 2 goals to make up. It is all over right now, and there is absolutely no order in the court of justice today. 4-1 will be our final score here in the first round of the Gauntlet.
It is over. 4-1. There were some close games there, but the series was not a close affair. Justice really feeling like they were in control. They were beating out Order to the ball. They played incredibly well, and now Justice look like a real serious contender throughout the rest of this gauntlet.
They stamped their authority on that game and that series, absolutely. I think if I'm Icon, I'm going to be watching myself now because these two teams didn't meet in the last Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Icon were automatically seeded to the end, but they got 4-0 by Chiefs.
And Icon are kind of in this position where they're maybe not feeling their best after losing 0-4. They might not have the full confidence, where the Justice just really must be feeling on top of the world. That is always the scariest proposition, seeing a team coming in on fire.
And a team that's so momentum driven. This is a team, Justice always go forward. They always go to make the play. The question is, Icon, been watching this, are they ready for it? Do they have a plan? How good is their defense? Because they had a hard time stopping Chiefs. And Justice, they might not be a team of that caliber, but they certainly are a team that is full of aggression.
The thing is, this is how they get to be that team of their caliber. They're challenging right now to get to Worlds. They are on the doorstep, and today could be their big day.
Well, we'll have to find out. It's going to be an exciting round 2. Looks like we'll be going to a break in just a few. Ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, so soon after, 5 minutes, and we'll be right back with Icon versus Justice Esports. Don't you go anywhere. The Gauntlet will roll on.